From a little cover, I got my dreams in sight. Wrestling on the mat, I go and put up a fight. With every hold and slam, I rise to the peak. Now as Professor Bear, it's my strength that they see. Roaring with knowledge like a lion so proud. In this wrestling world, I'm standing out loud. I'm Professor Bear, got the passion to spare. Wrestling's my life, with the power to share. From the roots to ropes, in the spotlight we gleam. Chasing victory dreams, living out the theme. Now my WOSN, my squad.
Yeah. Hey, new beginnings on the cusp. Not too old to adjust. Old dog, new tricks. Remember, I was just a pup. Something dirty in my cup. Clean soul.
With my boys, crew will always ride. In the wrestling world, one just claim the prize.
Welcome, and thank you for joining me this evening. I am Professor Bear, and this is A Bear's Thoughts. And today, my thoughts are, I refuse to let the devil bring me down. Everything that's happened this week has been trying and it's been getting on my nerves, but I refuse to let the devil beat me and stop what God wants. And what he wants is for me to give the fans so many different groups of wrestling promotions to learn about, to have fun with, to make you go back in the day to remember territories, because that's what I feel like. And today I have two gentlemen that are doing very well in independent wrestling. Let me welcome both of you all to A Bear's Thoughts. How are y'all doing today?
We're doing great, man. You know, bringing up E2IW, Exist2Inspire Wrestling. We appreciate you having us on here. You know, this is the first official interview or first official podcast that we have came on as a team to promote everything about E2IW and kind of tell how it all came to be, you know, and we appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And before we dive into y'all's story, want to point out their logo on the right-hand side. So because with wrestling, so many different promotions have the same letters or maybe same or similar names, we get confused. And I don't want any confusion. So you see their logo and you see that QR code. It will take you to their Facebook page. So please follow them and get to know them.
Yeah.
Now, guys, what I usually ask my guests is, the first question is, how did y'all become wrestling fans?
I'm gonna let you start it off there, Tim.
Oh, let me take you to, let me call it back in the day. I'm only 36, but back in the day for me is the early 90s, you know. I started out watching VHS tapes that my dad had of all the older, earlier 70s and 80s wrestling. started watching those, and I got into watching WCW. From there, that's my promotion that I watched more, and then I got into flipping back and forth between the WWF back then and WCW, flipping back and forth. But being able to, it's something that brought everybody together in my household. The neighbors come over, all the family piled in front of the TV, and we watched wrestling. I remember vividly watching matches with Raven and DDP and Goldberg, and just how the room split with who was going for who. It was just, it all brings up times and moments and memories of people being brought together with wrestling as far as back as I can remember. And then just the more I dove into it, the more I researched it, the more I watched it, the more I loved it. And then I found more of, NWA, of ECW, all these names. And then later on, I found out, hey, there's independent promotion. So once the internet became a thing, I was able to find independent promotion. That's where my love really grew, is in the independent scenes. Because granted, I love watching wrestling, but I always felt back then that, it was always just going to be a dream.
Right.
But then seeing people just like me and you and everybody else doing this on the independent scenes, and being able to get into that has really.
Okay. Before you continue and dive too much into after we met and all that, I'm gonna tell mine, and then we'll dive into everything we got going. 8 years old, I saw the Shawn Michaels Boyhood Dream. I don't even think it was called. I'm gonna have to look it up because I've been asked this a bunch of times on interviews. But Shawn Michaels Boyhood Dream VHS collaboration tape from way back in the day.
Yeah, it was called the Boyhood Dream.
Was it the Boyhood Dream? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I just remember my first draw to the business and to just the over the top craziness of it was the Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon double Intercontinental title match. The ladder match. That, because I grew up in a household full of dudes. I've been around ladders my whole life. I never once thought about wrestling with it. You know what I mean? Never even thought about that being a thing. And then I started diving off into other kinds of wrestling and different kinds of matches, and then Monday Night Wars with WCW and WWF, doing the flip-flopping back and forth. And it was kind of the same situation as Tim. When Monday came around or Thursday came around, whether it was Thunder or Nitro or Raw or SmackDown or whatever, me and my brothers and my dad and all of us, we would all bundle around the TV and, watch wrestling together. And that is what initially drew me to wanting to understand why we love it so much. Why this is such a captivating art. And I call it art because that's exactly what it is. But, I needed to understand these gimmicks. I needed to understand why Kane was like Kane and why Undertaker was like Undertaker. It was more than just the in-ring moves to me. It was a live action X-Men. It was a live action Power Rangers, And it was everything that most of my friends saw in superheroes. I got to watch in a ring doing the same thing as a kid.
Right. And I think I've heard it so many times being called the male soap opera. Well, honestly, it is because we are drawn to, like you said, not just the wrestling ability, but the storylines, the emotions. Because once you get hooked in somebody's emotions, it's over.
Exactly.
You could be the manliest of men, and something happened, you will bawl out crying for 2 hours just because of that. And that meant the world to you. So it was look, you could call it fake, you could call it whatever you want. It's real to me, damn it.
You're right. I look at it like this, and I'll
time in the performance to make somebody invested. When you get invested in something like that and you feel it, there ain't nothing that can replace it.
The art is the believability. you know, if you can make the people on the front row and the back row feel the same emotion, the same intensity, the same just draw to you, and you put that much work into it. Every time somebody asks me that's not really a wrestling fan and they ask me, well, is it fake? I say, man, it's Broadway with body slams. Okay. It is.
Yeah.
Them people out there that that dance on Broadway, stuff like that, they break legs, bro. They break legs. They snap ankles. I mean, they get hurt doing that. And we take massive bumps and crazy moves and this, that, and the other. And that ring isn't a trampoline, contrary to popular belief.
Right.
I got a chance to go to a training facility in Texas, and man, I already had respect for the business as long as I've been watching. I've been watching it since I was a little kid with my dad. So I had that respect already. But to actually go to see these guys and girls train and just seeing the bumps they took, and they offered me to come in the ring. I was like, you out your effing mind. There's no way. But I appreciate it. But ain't no way I'm getting in there. I'm a broken old man. Ain't no way you can get me.
It knocked the breath out of you from out here, you know, just walking.
So y'all both become wrestling. I mean, y'all fans. How do y'all go ahead?
So he's from Chalmette, Louisiana, which is down near New Orleans.
Okay.
So he can tell you this story, but he come up from Katrina. After all of that, his family come up to north Louisiana, and he started school and met a handful of people, and I just happened to be one of those people. We were like 14 years old.
Wow. So how did y'all go from fans to becoming actual wrestlers?
Well, thing is just like with anything, you know, life takes priority. You know, it's not like you can just go invest all your money at the beginning of life into becoming a wrestler. It's very rare to be able to do something like that. But I had a kid early at like 17, 18 years old. I had my son. So as much as I wanted to chase wrestling and do it professionally and run the roads and all that, it just wasn't in the cards due to having to be dad, you know?
Yeah, been there, done that.
And kind of the same situation with him, you know, he ended up having some children and been playing dad, you know, all these years, basically through our whole 20s. And come 2020, either during COVID, I know that. That's when I went to school and got my license and all of that and actually trained. And I was 30 when I actually went to the academy and started getting slammed down. It's weird to wake up one morning at 30 years old and be like, you know what? I feel like starting to get beat up today. Like, my back doesn't hurt already enough. You know, you can tell a week in advance when the weather's changing. So,
Yes,
but
sir. Yes, sir.
me and my wife was in Cancun, Mexico on our honeymoon, and Timmy and one of my other friends, Brandon, saw the UWE Wrestling Academy that we both graduated from post on Facebook. They had just opened back up after years of being closed. And when he seen it, he messaged me and was like, you know, there's a wrestling school like 15, 20, 30 minutes from the house. And I'm like, I'm one of the biggest wrestling fans around this area that I've ever heard of. If there was one around here, I would be the first to know about it. But sure enough, I got on Facebook and looked and all of that. And yep. And that I was the first class to go through there.
Yeah, I went through some wrestling training in my early 20s, but things didn't turn out the way they needed to, so didn't really do nothing with that. Just went back to thinking that the opportunity wasn't right, so I went on working and making a living, and got married, had kids, going on. And then, me and Jake, as long as we know each other, we've always kept wrestling a topic of
Oh, that's the bond, bro.
anything that that we come across. We always have wrestling to throw in there somehow.
Right.
When the school and the wrestling promotion opened up just a little ways from us, I called him and told him about it. He jumped on it and got on it, and he got wrestling. I didn't jump on the opportunity right then, but I like all ends of wrestling, whether it's the business in the backstage, the in ring, the teardown, the setup. I'm there. I'm about it.
Yeah.
So what I did at first was I was helping out, breaking down the ring, setting up chairs. I'd be selling and making merch for Jake's wrestling gimmick.
Right.
So that's what I did for a while. I travel around. Me and Jake would go around and we travel, and he'd wrestle. I sell merch. And he came to me one day. He's like, I got an idea that I need your help with. I'm like, well, what you got? He said, me and a tag team partner of his at the time, Ethan Sorrows, they needed a manager going into a match because the tag team they were going against had a manager. And he's like, I got this idea. And let's take a character that you already have, that you've had in this separate realm. We're at the time we were doing the promo competition promos. So we took a character that I had there, and we souped up the gimmick a little bit, souped up the my mask and my get up there, and we make it to the event, and the crowd just came alive when I walked out. And granted, it's not the prettiest of characters. It's kind of a spooky character. Gluttony's a scarecrow butcher. So the oohs and ahs and yells and screams and little kids running from me, that was so awesome. That feeling that I got was great.
Hook right here.
That was
got it.
So I travel around, and I brought my gimmick with me just in case he needed me again. So we're traveling, we're selling merch, I'm managing him, and we get to this promotion over in Mississippi, Battle Zone Championship Wrestling. Well, before that, it was Sadistic Wrestling Federation in Silsbee, Texas. They needed somebody to fill in for a match because they had a couple people not be able to make it. They're like, I was there with a guy, his tag team partner Ethan, going to manage him that night. Well, I was believing to be managing him that night,
right?
And they pulled me to the side. I was like, hey, we need you to wrestle tonight. I was like, do what? I was like, I hadn't really stepped in the ring in a long time. And I was nervous. I stepped in that ring, and it went away. And it felt like I was back in my 20s, and I just learned everything fresh. And it was fun. It was a short little match, but it was great. So I did the job they needed to do just to fill a couple minutes. And it was the next week that me and Jake moved over to Mississippi, Mendenhall, Mississippi, with Battle Zone Championship Wrestling.
Yep.
And he was introducing me to the promoter over there because Jake has done work over there before. And he's like, he asked, does he wrestle? And Jake said, well, he's getting back into it. He's like, does he want to wrestle tonight? And we did, and Jake volunteered to go against me. So me and Jake had a match ourselves, and
it was beautiful.
It was the time of my life.
It was great.
I hadn't stopped since. We've been running, it's been about a year and 4 months now straight, just week after week, hitting the road, wrestling, and man, it's just on the road.
Living the dream.
That's right.
Cheers.
Being able to build these characters and build we built a whole faction around what we got. It started with Ricka and the family affiliated, and now we're tag teaming up. Ricka and Gluttony is the TNR Championship Wrestling Tag Team Champions over in Leachville, Arkansas.
Leachville.
So we've been running the roads together, wrestling together, and just being able to talk about wrestling, talking about our matches, future matches, and what we want to do with this thing called wrestling in the future. So being able to travel the roads, all these miles and all these hours on the road, we're constantly talking about this and throwing ideas back and forth. And
we work together on our normal job.
That works as well.
I mean, so literally, there's two people in this world that I see every day, and that's my wife and Timmy. That's it. But that's the thing, man, is we got to know each other and started hanging out and talking wrestling at 14 years old. Okay, we're 36. Yep. We've been doing this right here. What we're doing right now, we've been talking about since we met. And it's took all these years, and life has happened, and growing up has happened, and all of that. But everything, every problem, every little struggle, every up, every down, all of that in our past has built to this right now. Everything has fell in place and happened exactly how it was meant to, until we've got to the point now to where we both have worked together and traveled together long enough that we're confident, hey, people know us, people respect the business, they want to work with us, so why not start a company?
Another thing that worked with us was, even back in the day, we understood what each of us decided what our end game was. Once we got into wrestling and wrestled for so long, but what did we want to end up doing for a living?
Yeah,
both of our niches, they're kind of linked up in such a way because we both wanted to wrestle.
Yeah,
but Jake's the guy that he always had a passion for teaching and training wrestling and being able to guide and help people get into the business. Me, I'm always on the business side of things. I love booking and promoting aspects of things.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just really been a match there.
We've been jumping through all these companies and going to all these different locker rooms, and each locker room has their positive side and their negative side. The good things about what's going on and the bad things about, whether it be the way the venue is or the way the company is set up, the way the locker room separated, whatever. But we have jumped around to all these companies and seen what works and what doesn't, and been doing this for I've been doing it for 5 years, and I think I've worked 27 different companies so far, something of that sort. Yeah, in 10 different states. I mean, all over the place. But the fact is I've seen all these different aspects of what works and what doesn't. And when me and Timmy get to talking about it, I don't see why we can't take all the positives that we found throughout these companies, the way they work, what the crowd reacts to, what, just what's going on, and build it into one unique, ultimate product.
And it's really something when we get going, and the way that Jake has taught me, because he's always been a social media buff, but the way he's taught me to promote and merchandise myself, the way he does his stuff, the Ricka stuff, and now how we're doing the E2IW stuff, it's really something by the way you push your product. When people see that, we got other wrestlers and other promoters and got people who own companies that want our opinion on things because they see how we push our product.
Yeah.
And that itself is something.
Yeah.
And what I find interesting, that you don't have too many wrestlers that actually go over to the promoter side of things. And when you do, it's they have that mindset of, okay, it's going to go A, B, C. And they act like they're not prepared for it jumping to Q or goes back to Z or whatever. And it always amazed me why, when you, like y'all said, y'all been on the road, you've worked for different companies, why can't you take elements from different companies, put it together and make it work?
That's what I'm
I,
saying.
and I've never understood why a lot more wrestlers have not took that opportunity.
Well, see, that's the thing, especially like he was talking about with his gimmick earlier and all that, and my gimmick. I'm the whole reason that I got into wrestling and started doing the research on all the different matches and then the history of the wrestling and all of that. That's the reason the whole Carnival Barker thing become a thing, is because I'm a huge history buff. And the Carnival Barker is the very, very first character ever to main stage a professional wrestling ring.
Oh, okay.
You know, he when they put the ring up and he said, "All right, go rile the fans up for the first match." Who was the first character that came out and started talking to folks? The Carnival Barker at the carnival back in the day. But fans forget that kind of stuff. And it's my job, it's our job to not only give them a product worth tuning into, worth watching weekly or monthly or whatever it is, but giving them something to learn from. Why do you enjoy the product you enjoy? It's because of all the ones that came before you. All of the wrestling started at the carnival, and then the character aspect of it, the predetermined outcomes, all of that kind of stuff. Fans nowadays don't understand why they love what they love. They just see it for face value, and you can't appreciate something unless you know the in depths of it. You know what I'm saying?
That is such a beautiful way of putting it, because I feel so similar to you with history. If you don't know your history, how are you going to enjoy it? Plus, be able to see things that and make more sense to you. Again,
Right.
It's not knocking that you don't know, but
Yeah.
why don't you try to learn and learn about all these great people that were the forerunners for what we love today, and make sure we try to keep it alive.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing is, like in wrestling nowadays, and I'm not knocking the product because, you know, evolution, times change, you know, styles change and all that kind of stuff. But when you're trying to perform and doing all the stuff that they're doing nowadays, you don't have time to expand the gimmick, the character. You're doing so much spot wise, you're doing so much move wise that is awesome. Don't get me wrong, it is great, but there's no gimmick behind it. And to be honest, in my personal opinion, a gimmick out will outsell and output butts in seats a wrestler any day of the week. I would much rather have a character on my show that knows how to wrestle, but knows how to put his character over, than just have a guy come out there and know how to flip and flop and do all these crazy moves, but doesn't really have a gimmick. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
A whole package, be able to wrestle and have that showmanship.
There's three kinds of people. There's people that can promo really good and can't wrestle. There's people that can wrestle really good and can't promo. And then there's people that can promo and wrestle half-ass decent. And you know who I'm booking? The guy that can do both pretty good. Why? Because not only is he got room to grow, but he's coachable.
Yes. And what I love about that too, and this is something that I talk about a lot. Man, we don't have managers and valets anymore that help talk for the person who can't talk.
We're bringing that back. I'm just throwing that out there. We're bringing that back because we've talked about this. You know, it's not that the wrestler can't talk himself. It's not that he can't talk himself. It's the fact that he doesn't need to. His
Right.
mouthpiece. Yeah. Building mystique on the character itself without having to say anything.
Yes.
Gluttony's
And-
been wrestling for almost a year and ain't spoke a word, not one. Been multiple promos, but ain't never said nothing.
See, and like you said, That's what makes the uniqueness of it. You want to know, why is he not talking? What's going on deeper than besides your wrestling? Now
Well,
I'm vested to find out what the hell's going on with you and how you came to be.
right. Simple thing like this. When Gluttony was coming in to train, or Timmy was coming in to train and doing all that kind of stuff, and he was trying these moves and he was going pretty quick and all this kind of stuff. And I stopped him and was like, look, that's great for your size. That's great. You can do all those fast paced moves and things, because he could pretty much be a lucha if he wanted to. But I said, you're not a wrestler pretending to be a scarecrow. You're a scarecrow attempting to wrestle. Slow it down.
That makes a world of sense. I
That's
love
the game.
I love that y'all are definitely looking beyond just the 1-2 of normal wrestling. You're going back to bring, and as I like to say, everything that is old becomes new.
Yep.
You have to.
I was just thinking that.
You have to bring back some older stuff that people hadn't seen or know about.
The
And help.
generations of
Yes.
wrestling change so fast.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
every 5 years, I'd say it's a new little, wave of wrestling fans. So if you bring stuff that was happening in the early 2000s, to wrestling right now that hadn't been done since then, it's brand new to the new fans.
Exactly. Just like the modern fans now, and I'd say, geez, I'd say about 50 to 60 of them don't know who the fuck Bruno Sammartino is. One of the
That's what I'm
greatest
talking about.
heavyweight champions in the world.
That's what I'm talking about.
And it's
History.
so funny. It's funny to me, again, now, it's just the way I think and the way I look at things. But I look at certain moves and stuff, and then my head is like, who do you remind me of? You take, I know you take it a little bit from somebody. Let me
Yep.
see if I can pick it out. And it's like,
Yep.
yeah, you studying this. I saw that.
That's the best thing, though, man, is everything there. It's not about making a character that has never been done. It's about taking a character that has obviously at some point in time been done and making it your own, tweaking it enough to make it your own. Okay. So you could have 1,000 different dead, undead, Undertaker-ish style gimmicks. Okay. But you can't play it exactly like Taker did.
Right.
And that goes for any gimmick. But if you're going to do something like that, me and Timmy's talked about this, and I'm going to end up putting this on like a banner or something like that. But simple is this. If you believe in your gimmick, they'll believe in your gimmick.
Yep.
Because as a wrestling fan, not as a promoter or a wrestler or anything, but as a fan, if I see and I don't even mean to do it, but it just happens naturally because I'm a fan. If I see one crack in your gimmick to where you're not confident in yourself at one point in the match, you can go ahead and toss that gimmick out the window. It's going to be really hard for you to try to make me believe it again because I've seen through it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you believe it, they'll believe it.
And that's the best part of it. You have to. I mean, it's so simple that it's silly.
Right.
If I don't believe in myself, how in the hell do I expect y'all to believe in me?
Thank you. Thank you. And that's all it is to it. You can't sell tickets. You can't put on a believable show. You can't put on great matches and things like that with all these elaborate characters and stuff if you got characters out there. And when you put your gear on, whether it's a mask, boots, tights, whatever, when you put it on, you are no longer Jake. You're no longer Timmy. You are that character until you walk back to that curtain.
Yep.
And even sometimes after that, depending on interviews. But I'm just saying, you've got to make them believe.
one of the funniest things that I've told this story a few times, but I enjoy it for the fact of, and once I tell you, y'all will understand it. So I was at a wrestling show, and gentleman, he was out there with his partner, and his partner was wrestling. He was on the outside doing his thing, pissing people off and stuff. Well, it was a couple of seats beside me empty, so he just came and grabbed a seat beside me, and he whispered something. I heard him, but I couldn't make out what he really said. But
Oh no.
I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking to myself, this dude is starting to piss me off. To the point I'm like thinking, I might have to punch him in the damn face. So he got up, did his thing. I mean, no problem. So afterwards, after the show was over, I'm standing around talking to different wrestlers and stuff. And I see him come out the back. And he makes a beeline to me. He's like, "Oh, cool, Professor. I'm glad you didn't leave." He said, "Man, I enjoy your stuff. You are so good." And I said, "Well,
Oh, he
thank you."
knew who you was.
Yeah, he knew what I was. And he's like, "Man," he said, "I really wanted to talk to you, but I couldn't break character. So that's why I whispered
Tell
to
him
you."
I really wanted.
He was whispering to me to tell me to don't leave after the show. I didn't hear him. So luckily enough, I stayed. And I said, "Man," I said, "I appreciate that." I said, "I'm gonna have to tell you." I said, I'm gonna be God truthful to you.
I wanted to punch you in the face.
Yes. I was like, "Man, you pissed me off so bad. I really wanted to punch you in the face." He turned around and he's like, "Man, that's one of the best compliments I ever got."
Hey, you're doing your job, man. You're doing your job.
Exactly. And that's what I love when I watch wrestling. When I see you can get me to bite in for everything I know about wrestling.
Yeah, even if you know.
Yeah, even some of my friends who wrestle. I was at a wrestling show and was with a buddy of mine, and the guys, it was a tag team match and there was wrestling. And I was like, "Yeah, I know one of the guys." Well, he had his his wrist taped up, and he was taking the tape off. He balled it up and threw it at me, and I caught it. And and my buddy started laughing. He said, "Yeah, he know who you are." I'm like, "Ain't no way." And the crowd was big now. I'm like, man, no. So afterwards, he came up, set up his booth and everything. And we walked up to him. And I was like, "Man, it's a good show." I was like, "Man, you didn't throw that at me on purpose." He said, "Yeah, I did. I saw you." And I'm like, "How the hell did you point me at?" He's like, "Look,
Right here.
there's a lot of people around." He said, "But there ain't a big black guy with a bear on his shirt. Like, they ain't gonna notice him."
He's like, "You know what?"
But it was just so funny to me. And another different show we were at, he jumped at me like he was really gonna punch me, and I'm sitting there in my head like, "This is my buddy. I know he wouldn't do it," but I'm thinking, he swing, I swing.
Just in case.
Yeah, and then afterwards he came up, gave me a big hug. We laughed, but
I love it.
he's good at his character. And again, as much as I know about wrestling, as much as I know about backstage, he legitimately made me think for a second he was going to hit me.
Right.
And so he has that tremendous work about himself. Now, he wouldn't hurt a fly, but and that's what I love about.
That makes the best heels. That makes the best heels. The guys that are just ridiculously nice, just sweetest dudes ever, and make the most asshole-ish heels.
And one guy, he scared this little girl and she started crying. And her brother couldn't have been like 2 years older than her. He grabbed her and started comforting her. And so the guy jumped at them again. Little brother jumped at him.
What? You ain't got
and,
to
and I love when you can own someone that deep.
Well, that's the
And
thing, man.
afterwards, after the show, he brought that little girl. I can't remember what he brought her, but he brought her something because he knew he didn't want to scare her that bad.
Yeah.
And man, that stuff like that it really makes me love wrestling even more.
Well, dude, okay. One of the best times that has ever happened to me and Timmy together when we were tag teaming was the kid that was mute. And there was a kid that was verbally autistic, and he was basically mute, not even to his parents really, didn't really speak to anybody. We're in full-on gimmick. Now, we don't look like the most approachable people up front, especially to like how old was he? Like 7, 8, something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. He walked up to us and started just chit-chatting, conversation, just full talking. And I just kneeled down beside him and we just talked to him for a minute, you know.
And when the kid's parents, their jaws hit the floor.
Right.
And disbelief that the kid would open up in such a way to characters like us. But they just let
we
him
looked
talk
so
to us.
different. And he just felt comfortable.
Man, that type of stuff is what makes wrestling just uberly great.
I agree.
You can make moments for people. And that's why I love indie wrestling even more, because you get the chance to have conversations with you guys and
More personal.
Yes, and I feel a lot of times I call it a family reunion because you go to a show all the time. If you miss a couple of shows, then the first thing when you go back, man, you okay? You've been sick? What? We were concerned, and it's just that camaraderie that just makes it so great.
I cannot tell
you go to a wrestling show by yourself, not knowing nobody, but you're gonna leave with a friend.
Yes.
A bunch of them. Because nowadays with social media and everything else, and everybody's got the little, tap business card QR code thing. So you may have 50 new friends on Facebook by the time you leave.
That is so true. So when are y'all going to get your promotion started?
The 21st. That's our official show. February 21st.
February 21st.
Oh, yes. I'm excited.
So we're
in Silsbee, Texas.
That's where Mark Henry's from, just saying.
Yeah.
But Silsbee, Texas, 4054 Fresenius Road. It's going to be an awesome event. We're going to be at the Warehouse Event Center. We're doing this first show. All tickets are $10. We're just doing a flat rate across. Come sit where you want to. Line up a chair. Pick a seat. And we're going to be doing food and drinks and that kind of thing. And they'll all have, most of the wrestlers will have merch tables set up. We're going to do, a little meet and greet and all that kind of stuff. And we just want to make sure that everybody understands that we're not just doing this to be another hole in the wall wrestling company. If we were going to do something that was just generic like that, why would we put another wrestling company in the middle of Texas where there's 1 million already?
Yeah.
I
fully believe that, given the opportunity to having the cheaper tickets is a good way to get people in. And I know once we get them in, we'll have fans for life to where they can experience wrestling in a different view, a different product. Right.
We wanted to give the fans that we've met throughout our time traveling, something that each company was missing given their crowd. Like I said, we saw what worked and what didn't. We took all these different elements, because we've been on both sides of the curtain. We've been in the locker room with the boys, and now we're on the other side. So we kind of know how I would expect a promoter to treat me. You know, I would expect a company to give me and feed to my character. Number one, and first and foremost, beyond wrestling, it's all business. That has got to be up front. You know, business comes first. I love wrestling. I have a lot of friends. I have brothers that I consider now in wrestling and everything else, but business is number one. So we've all got a part to play. And if you want to play a part, you are more than welcome. We are open door all the way around, just trying to help people understand that inspiration comes in all shapes and forms. You know, what you see as different, what you see as odd and left to center may be something that puts somebody looking straight forward and pushes them toward achieving their dream, chasing their dream, whether it's wrestling or whatever they decide to do.
Right.
We got a lot
And
that we're planning, that we're putting into motion. We got everything, just about everything we need right now to put on our first show, and from there, it's just going to keep getting better and better visually as we get all the aspects of how we want certain things to look and certain things to
Right.
run. Because
This is all building out of our pocket. Just say
Yeah.
it. Just throwing it out there. It is all building out of our pocket.
They have to hustle. We hustle side jobs to provide all this.
Yes. Along with taking care of our families and also doing our wrestling, traveling, and everything else.
So it's going to take a little time to get everything 100% the way we want it. But we guarantee that every time you come, you're going to see something different. You're going to see something that catches your eye. And it's going to be something that you hadn't seen before. So it's going to be a work in progress there for a little bit. But once we get the way we want it, it's going to be just so much fun to do. We've been planning this for such a long time because this has been in the plans for years. This is what we've always talked about, and we actually finally put a name to it. We're actually coming back from a wrestling show, and somebody approached us and they're like, "Why haven't y'all ever thought about?" It was one of those shows where they come to us about asking for advice, and they're like, "Why hadn't y'all decided to put a wrestling promotion on? You know, that's beside me. Y'all would be good at it." I was like, "Well, actually, we've been talking about it, just trying to find the right time." It's like, ain't no better time than now.
And that's kind of how it.
Our brains are just 90-0, and we're sitting there just swinging back and forth of names of what we can call it, and we had all these ideas, but we couldn't latch down a name. And my wife, she's like, "Well, what's that thing that Jake's always using? That tagline of his?" Well, I was like, "What, his TikTok and his Facebook?" I said, "Exist2Inspire." She's like, "Well, that's it." I stopped for a minute. I looked at Jake. I said, "That's it." He's like, "What? What'd she say?" I was like,
E2IW.
Wrestling. And I just saw a light bulb just light up right above his head. He said, "That's it." And we've been going ever since. And I didn't see his head come up.
I was just saying, like,
making graphics, logos, and this.
We had like a 6-hour trip, and we're just back and forth talking different stuff and doing the designs and logos, and we're getting stuff for shirts. And
every day we're on the phone, we're on the video chat, we're in our locker room chat on Facebook Messenger. We're in there. We're 100% in this. We're taking care of each other, our company, and our wrestlers that's coming. We've got a lot in motion, but it's been a constant work.
We have pushed, even through the gimmick and now the wrestling company, we have pushed the mindset that everybody is unique. Okay, everybody is different. Nobody is the same, and what you may enjoy, I may not, and what I enjoy, you may not, and that doesn't make either of us wrong. That just makes us different, and that's what makes the world great. Okay, exactly. Everybody has flaws. Everybody's got positives and negatives about them, and it's about facing and embracing your flaws and not being hidden and not being scared of them. That's the whole thing. Is everybody wears a mask. Everybody has a face they put on to the world, but once you can look yourself in the mirror and go, "This is who I am. This is what I want to do. This is my life. I've got to take care of me. I've got to chase it because nobody's going to chase it for me." And that's where the company comes in, to where we can exist to inspire those people who don't have the heart to take the risk, because it is a big chance that it may fail and fall on your face. But We run with the motto, I'd rather try and fail than to have never tried at all.
It's so funny. I I preach that to my kids because I sit back and look at things I was too afraid to try. And I tell them, you don't want to end up like dad. Try. Fall on your face a
Yep.
100 times. You get up, shake it off, and keep going. I said, now, of course, if I
Like
had
so
my
many say
chance,
that.
I would go back to try some things. I said, but I didn't. And I didn't make me wrong. I have y'all, and I'm so appreciative. But you don't want to get old and look back at your life, man. I had
That
that
is my
opportunity.
that is
I
my
had
biggest
that
fear.
opportunity.
That's my biggest fear is dying with what ifs.
Yeah.
What if I woulda? What if I woulda? It's funny you brought that up about your kids and stuff because we've actually got a shirt coming out soon, and it's an Exist to Inspire inspirational apparel. I'm gonna call it, and it's a logo I made, and it says, "When life knocks you to the ground, or life knocks you to the mat, bump and feed."
And that is so true.
Yeah,
I love it. I
Talk
love
yeah,
it.
about feeding. I love the wrestling aspect things, but like I said, I love the business side of things, and being a booker promoter and having to take care of the ins and outs of producing and booking and getting ready for a show. Stuff never stops. It's very fast paced, and hate to air the laundry out of here, but there is some business we got to tend to after we had some business to handle before the show. Uh, it's always something.
yeah. It's go 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 constantly,
It,
and trying to balance. I mean, we're getting more bookings every day for the gimmicks, and then trying to balance the shows and plan them accordingly, and still make these other shows. And I know we're dragging ourselves thin, but every day we get a day older, and
But think of the outcome. Think of how much this is the payoff of when this is all said and done, when this first show is done, and we're able to take that first breath. It's so gonna be worth it.
you know what I've always wanted to do as a kid, ever since I was a kid, and I'm pretty sure that's why I had that old school VHS camcorder that was like this big, and I carry. I'm pretty sure that's why one of my arms is a little bit bigger than the other because I just carry this gigantic thing. But I'm pretty sure growing up, I was a huge wrestling documentary guy, like the behind the scenes stuff, and I was like, one day I'm gonna have one like that where they do the highlight clips and interview my family members and all my friends and stuff. I wanted that. So I'm like, I want to get as much footage. I want to get as many things to use that one day when they do make a documentary about my
I
stuff.
was about to say that one day I want a documentary.
Yes. Yes. I want to, I mean, that's going to be awesome.
I do got to say this while we have the chance. I want to thank first off our E2IW sponsors, Pools Pit Stop. We got Gina Metals, and we got Likewise Skateboards. I want to thank them for investing in us and believing in us. And
Yes.
from the bottom of my heart, the behalf of myself and Jake, the crew and the wrestlers that we have in our locker room right now, they have been the driving force with everything to believe in us and have our backs the way that they do, and the way they are excited about this first show coming up.
And they didn't have to, man.
Yeah, and they didn't have to.
They didn't have to.
They've had our backs since the idea was dropped. And so I really want to thank them.
Yes. And these are all people we've met.
I was just about to say, I'm a big firm believer in giving people their flowers, so to say. There's a lot of times that people do not get them until after they're gone and they can't enjoy them. I want to give y'all your flowers because not only are y'all getting to live the dream that so many of us would love to live, but you're actually doing something that is so important in wrestling is leaving the business better than you found it.
1,000,000%.
And
1,000,000%.
He says
and
that.
I want to thank you, and I know your fans thank you. I know my fans thank you, but we appreciate everything y'all doing, and I hope great success for y'all company. I want it to be where sometime down the road I actually get to come and we can meet in person
That'd
and
be
maybe
awesome.
even do a live interview there.
Yes, that'd be
Yes.
great.
It is one of the things that has drove me to do this, because again there are so many different stories out there of how y'all got here and why you're doing it, and I just think it's a great thing for people to hear, and like y'all said, hell, maybe you will inspire some people to do something similar. You just
Yeah,
Yeah.
never know.
We want people to chase their dreams and get inspired by watching us do what we do. Another aspect of this, not just the wrestling, but this has been a good way for us to be able to give back to our communities.
very much
To
so.
somebody something to do, something to watch when there's not a lot going on.
Yeah,
Especially like in Louisiana, Southeast Texas, there's not a lot going on as far as the wrestling or community events, but we're able to get
outside
some.
of team
We're
sports.
a show to raise funds for a cause for an event and bond together.
Yeah,
Um, that in itself is something that keeps a smile on my face to be able to. Anytime we get a call about a show for veterans or for the fire department or
right.
for a cancer,
He
somebody
he is the
failing
first
cancer
responder.
disaster relief, I jump on the opportunity to give back like that. I wholeheartedly want to start doing that with our company. That way we can be able to provide that, because it's not just being able to make a buck and put on a great show to make the memories, but it's they'll be able to give back, uh, to be
See,
able to lift
people
somebody
forget
else.
people forget about what the underlining meaning of everything we're doing is. And it's not just E2IW, but wrestling in general. Wrestling is a business of one thing and one thing only, and that is paying it forward. That is paying it forward. You are only as big and as over and as large of a name and all of that. The only reason that you build yourself up to be the person you are, the champion, whatever, ego does not exist or shouldn't exist. It does, but it shouldn't inside the locker room, strictly because you're the champion and we're building you up, so by the time the next guy comes along to take that championship, it means something.
Yep.
That's the
Definitely.
bottom line. That's the bottom line. It is a business of paying it forward. I'm only working as hard as I'm working now, doing everything I'm doing, so that by the time it's time to hang up my boots and I finally get to build that next guy to take my spot, happily
Yep.
would I pass that torch. And now it means something. He's got immediate value on his gimmick name, whatever.
It's like
And
us in our locker room. After we get these, we got short segments or short storylines involving other characters, and with the beginning of the shows. But once that first initial storyline plays out, I told the guys, I said, we're going to be in the back running things. The
yeah,
spotlight's y'all. The torch is being passed. Prepare
yeah,
yourselves.
yeah. We're not trying. We're not going there as our gimmicks. We may have to wrestle from time to time, but we're not going there pushing our wrestling stuff. We're there to do one thing, and that is inspire the people who were told you're not big enough, not strong enough, don't have the right gimmick, don't have the right talent. Yes, you do if you're put in the right situation. What's that saying? Water in the airport is $10, and then water in the store is $2. It's all about where it's placed.
Yep.
Same water.
Yep. I love it. I love it. Uh, Again, guys, I'm so thankful that y'all were willing to come on. Um, we're definitely going to stay in touch.
For
Um,
sure. For sure.
Anytime y'all want to come back on, just let me know. We'll work it out. again, I really do appreciate y'all and the level. I don't think, especially with just being a regular fan, a lot of times I don't think that we think about the important stuff. You know, oh, he won or she won. They dropped the titles, that and the third. But there's so much more to wrestling than that. To be able to not think about your problems for 2-3 hours, not worried about that rent or whatever, just to be able to have a clear mind to enjoy life for just a moment, man, that's super big. And again, it's so appreciative.
It's crazy because that's been a big thing in the locker rooms. You know, people talking about, I don't want to have to lose to this guy or that guy and all that. Do you know at the end of your career, you know, I've never heard once from any wrestler of ever them go, well, he had 862 losses and 500 wins. It's like, nobody cares. The story is what matters. It's not the wins. It's not the losses. Nobody keeps count. And if they do, they've just got extra time on their hands, but whatever.
I just want to be known as I was a good worker, I was a good guy to work with, I was easy to work with or work for. That's all that matters to me.
That is what pushes your company, because you are all around genuine. You're not doing it for you. You're not doing it for them. You're doing it for the betterment of the business. And that is what makes us different.
And that's what makes me love y'all, because we need more people that understand the better the business is, the better wrestling is, period.
Yeah. We've waited all our lives to be able to be put in a position to where we can give back, and doing it without a wrestling career under our belt, you know, not having that crowd push and that fan base already kind of built where people immediately seen we were starting something and was like, heck yeah, I'm following that. I'm gonna see what that's about. I love what they do in the ring. I couldn't imagine them putting on a show. So it was perfect the way it fell, just because we already had a halfway fan base built. And family and friends that want to come wrestle for us, that are looking forward to it and pushing us along the way.
That's always just an amazing thing. Guys, again, I thank y'all for coming on the show and giving us a chance to experience what y'all about to bring. And I can't wait to see where it goes from there.
Thank you, man. We appreciate it. And this is our first official E2IW interview, like I said. And I'm appreciative that we got to do it. And I'm looking forward to more, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
the world needs to know about E2IW.
I wouldn't mind jumping back on after our first show to see if my hair goes any grayer or if it turns back black.
I understand that.
You'll see him on screen with a Sharpie, like.
But anybody that's going to be in the Silsbee, Texas area or wants to make the drive out, be sure to come on down to the Warehouse Event Center in Silsbee, Texas. It'll be February 21st at 6 p.m. The doors will open. Tickets are $10. Be sure to come enjoy a night of professional wrestling.
That's right. 4054 Fresenius Road, Silsbee, Texas. Make sure to be there for the first edition, the debut show of Exist2Inspire Wrestling presents The Vision. It's going to be awesome.
You want to do the tagline, Jake?
Yeah, let's do it. And always remember, exist to inspire. That's right. That's right.
Man, thank y'all.
The inspiration, motivation for the madness.
Not the madness.
Madness. It's the same difference.
I expect you to put on the macho shades when you say that. Motivation for the madness.
I'm going to have to do that one day.
Love it.
Halloween. We'll bring it out.
Yeah.
Guys, girls, thank you so much for
Thank you.
joining me around the campfire with another tremendous story. This is why I do what I do, because there are so many great people out there that don't get a chance to tell their stories. And it is so amazing just to be able to hear and maybe inspire you. Because I know how I feel inspired and blessed to get the chance to bring this to y'all. So again, it is an amazing thing. So thank y'all. But as we always do before we go, I always say this simple phrase, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Go support your local indie promotions. I can't tell you how much it means to the guys and girls that go out there and bust their hump all the time. And you never, ever know who you will see on their way up years down the road, maybe a world heavyweight champion in a major promotion. You never know. But the one thing I would tell you, you get so much of a fun, just family oriented feel where you feel like you with family, and that atmosphere is like no other. I promise you that.
Okay. I love that. I really do. And I want to give you this, and I go live on TikTok every day at noon, pretty much. And I always end my podcast with this little inspirational quote, if I may.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Always remember to push for positivity. If you're given a chance to make some changes, make the change, because there's so many people out there that will never get the chance to make the changes you get to make today. If you see somebody going through some troubling times, be that shoulder to lean on, be that ear to listen. You don't have to fix their problems. Need you, and you never know how much it may help somebody throughout that situation. And one day, when you're going through your own troubling times, as we all do from time to time, somebody will be there to give you that same positive push, same good vibe, good courtesy, and the shoulder to lean on and the ear to listen to what you got going on to help you through your situation. So pay that positivity forward. That's the
Amen.
And always remember, who's hungry?
Right.
With that being said,
we can literally all night and talk. So,
with that being
said, you knew when you were sitting down talking to us, but we can talk to you all night.
Thank you for having us on, brother. We really appreciate it.
We much appreciate you.
No problem. Guys, girls, thank you once again. I am Professor Bird. This has been a Bird's Thought, and we will see you around the campfire very, very soon. Y'all take care.